Hey everybody, it's Jason Plaha here, and once again it is time for the Monday Q&A, so let's get into it. First question. Why should I use your program over the successful Stronglifts 5x5? It's a good question, and a lot of people have actually accused me of completely copying the Stronglifts 5x5 template, but I have to remind these people that the Stronglifts 5x5 is a copy of a couple of other templates that have been used for up to 50 or 60 years, way before the birth of myself or the birth of the person who wrote the Stronglifts 5x5. And what he did was he stripped down these older templates into a minimalist program, and what I have done is restored it back to a full program and used some modern linear periodization methods. And I would say that the reason to use my program over Stronglifts is that if you have more aesthetic and hypertrophy goals, particularly for the upper body, that my program will help you get there a little better for beginning bodybuilders who need optimal hypertrophy and have more time to spend in the gym than what you might if you're running only Stronglifts. Now, I think Stronglifts is a fine system, and I think it is great for back development, lower body development. All of that will be really balanced on it, but the biggest complaint I see is that a lot of guys who use it for bodybuilding purposes, they end up feeling like things like their chest, arms, and shoulders get a little underdeveloped. Whereas on my program, you're going to see all of the benefits to those bigger muscle groups, but for someone who wants a little more show muscles, they're going to end up with more bicep, more tricep, more trap, a little more pec, a little more delt, things like that on this program because they're going to be maximizing their results. So that's the reason why I would recommend running it over it if that is what your actual goals are. Now, if you want just a basic strength program, a basic hypertrophy program, and you're not as concerned with making all of those showier muscles quite as big, if you have less time in the gym, you're using it purely for weight loss or something, Stronglifts is probably a better choice. So it depends on what your goals are and what sort of time you have to work with. All right, next question. Why don't you lose lean body mass strength when dropping your weight on the bar 10% deload in a calorie deficit? Well, that's not a deload. I think you're talking about on my novice program for the cutting version, because I do have people do weight resets on that also. And the reason you don't is because you're still recruiting all available muscle fibers. Even though you may not be stimulating the most possible growth, what you will find is that the intensity and rep ranges I have people working with on that program, a 10% loss in the weight on the bar on, say, those 5x5 sets, on the 5th rep of every set, you're still hitting all of the available muscle fibers, meaning you're hitting all the upper threshold fibers still, so you're still stimulating all of that. So that's the reason you're still stimulating enough hypertrophy and getting fiber stimulation to sustain your muscle mass and possibly gain some if you're still making noob gains while running something like that. So that's how you get away with it. Now, if you're running really high reps with lighter weights and you cut 10% of the weight on a cut, yeah, you're going to be at a higher risk of losing muscle mass because of the intensities on the bar compared to your 1 rep max are going to be low enough that you may not always be hitting the upper threshold fibers. So it's purely a matter of muscle fiber recruitment at that point. All right, last question in this part. Why do you think so many people rather take supplements instead of a real meal? I see so many people eating only 1 to 2 meals but using a ton of supplements. Yeah, I've noticed this too with some people. I think it's not lots and lots of people. It's not the majority by any means, but I do see a few of these people, and I think it's because the supplement industry has marketed stuff to people so much that they actually think supplements are magical and wonderful and not what they truly are, and just supplements to your diet to fill a niche or a role. I am personally of the opinion that supplements don't really help you build muscle. They just make up for weaknesses within your diet. And that is what their benefits are. And I think people who are using them as full meal replacements, I think is really moronic. And I think it's that people really see supplements themselves as magical instead of what they truly are, and just a way to balance out and get things that you're missing in your diet due to whatever constraints that you have on your lifestyle or your food choices that are causing you to have deficiencies. But I do agree that it is a bit of a problem. All right, guys, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time. But let me give you guys a bicep shot first.